Good afternoon and welcome to Raymond Field in Wolfville, Nova Scotia for Bell Lion TV1's coverage of the Under-18 Atlantic Showcase presented by Soccer Nova Scotia. I'm Scott Squires, glad to have you on board here. A beautiful day in lovely Wolfville, Nova Scotia in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia. And we are underway. It's the Nova Scotia U17 taking on New Brunswick U18 on the girls' side of the ledger here. This Atlantic Showcase, a 4-day event for the best of the best in Atlantic Canada soccer on the U18, U17 side. And basically, just as the event would indicate, it is an opportunity for these players to showcase their talents for recruiters and scouts from colleges and universities across Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Nova Scotia wearing the blue with white trim, and New Brunswick in the white tops with the black. Play over on the far side now. New Brunswick pushes it forward. Play around midfield. Both of these teams coming out with a 4-3-3 configuration to set things up. So 4 up front, 3 midfielders, and then 3 defenders in the back. And both coaches indicating that that's the configuration they'll go with. Of course, based on the flow of the game and what may happen throughout the course of the match, that certainly could change if they need to either open things up or tighten things up defensively. In goal for New Brunswick, number 1, Lauren Bushy, and the keeper for Nova Scotia, Caitlin Fines. Play it into the far corner, into the middle. New Brunswick clears it back. That was Grace Power. And now New Brunswick. Ball forward. That's chipped just up ahead, but it's knocked down at the back line of Nova Scotia. The head referee for this game is Ben Hoskins. He's the gentleman in the center of the action wearing the bright yellow shirt. He'll control things today, and hopefully he doesn't have to be too involved in the action. Coming down that right side now, it's Emily Bagna. Bagna gets forced into the corner. Some nice footwork there as she tries to get around the defender, Madison Harnish. And the ball goes out of play and down into the corner. Just underway here, 37-45 and counting in the opening half. 40-minute halves as opposed to the traditional 45 that you may be used to for soccer or football, depending on what you call it. So there'll be 40-minute halves. There'll be a 10-minute halftime in between the first and second half. Of course, it's up to the referee's discretion as to what, if any, added time there will be at the end of the first and or second half. And in the round-robin portion of the tournament, there will be no overtime period or shootout. A tie will be just that, a tie. Play into midfield now. Ball pushed back. Nova Scotia trying to get that ball up over midfield. Nice little tap forward there. Ball back into midfield again. New Brunswick trying to corral it there, and having a look was Taylor Green for Nova Scotia, but New Brunswick, long ball forward, and it goes out of bounds. It's a lovely day here at Raymond Field. Glad that you're joining us wherever you're watching today. Send out tweets. Use the hashtag TV1, so that would be hashtag TV and the number 1. Include that in your tweets, and I'll certainly retweet anything you send out, and even try and read something on the air if you want to let us know where you're watching from and who you're cheering for. Maybe you might even have a friend, relative, loved one playing on one of these sides here today. Of course, we'll be here all weekend long, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and of course, the championship games on Sunday. Ball over on this near side now for Burrell. Moves it up ahead, taking it there is Chason. Katie Chason gets challenged there, 1v2. Chason tries to get it up ahead for Burrell. And now the ball just rolls in calmly. And Lauren Bushy will get it right up the middle. Nova Scotia comes in challenging hard there. Nice battle is coming in. Taylor Green lowered the shoulder Up along this near side now, trying to move it forward was Natalie Fleming. Fleming decides to reset things now and gets it back to the keeper, Bushy. Bushy facing some pressure. Decides to get it quickly off there as a stiff wind blowing at Raymond Field here today. And that could perhaps put a bit of a damper on these two teams in terms of trying to play any balls in the air. They may have to just keep this on the floor, keep it more of a ground game in terms of trying to push it forward or any kind of pass. Again, we'll have to wait and see, but a pretty stiff and constant wind blowing right now here at Raymond Field. Just a few minutes into this game, the first game of this U18 Atlantic Showcase. In the middle there for Nova Scotia was Taylor Green. She tried to move it forward. New Brunswick, long ball up ahead there beyond everybody now. Trying to run onto it is New Brunswick, but getting there first is Haley Burrell. And Burrell, probably a little winded after that run, turns with it. Facing pressure there from Emily Bagna. Ball goes dangerously into the middle, back out now. Here's a chance and a ball put high into the air as a nice opportunity from about the 20-yard mark. And New Brunswick got a shot toward goal, but it was just a little high off the foot of the captain, Sylvie Fecteau. This New Brunswick U18 side, talking to their coach, Kevin Talbot, before the game, and he said, our team is an under-17 team. He said all the girls except for one are U17, but because of their one player who is a U18 player, they have to register as U18, and that U18 player is the captain, number 6 in white, Sylvie Fecteau. And Coach Talbot telling me that Sylvie has received a scholarship to play soccer at UNB starting in September. So that's exciting news for Sylvie. And we certainly wish her congratulations. Perhaps we'll get to see her on one of our Bella Lion TV1 AUS broadcasts. Of course, Bella Lion TV1, the official broadcaster for Atlantic University Sport. And I'm sure that over the next few years, we'll see some of these players that we're going to witness this weekend, including Sylvie Fecteau, playing soccer for the AUS. Into the 7th minute here of this game. Fines. A little restart there. Gets good air on that. Ball into the center field area. Julie Cormier gets it to the back line. Charging in there was Beatrice Curry for Nova Scotia. She almost had a good chance. Now here's a nice run coming from Chasson. And Chasson watches it go down into the corner. So some good running there on behalf of a couple of the players from this Nova Scotia side. Ball high into the air right along that end line. And again, kicked out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Nova Scotia. Currently 14 degrees Celsius here in Wolfville. A pretty steady wind at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 28 kilometers an hour. So when you get a wind of around 30 kilometers an hour and it's fairly consistent, again, when you're playing a game where their ball is in the air so much as it is in soccer, that can kind of force you. There's a shot on goal and they score! Nova Scotia, I believe it was Beatrice Curry, found herself alone from about 15 yards and struck that ball well. And to the back of the net it goes, and Nova Scotia has the lead. They draw first blood, and they lead by a score of 1-0. Again, I do believe that was number 11, Beatrice Curry, who found herself alone just off to the side from about 15 yards, and just a lovely strike off the right foot. And Nova Scotia on the board, 1-0. So New Brunswick now behind the 8 ball just a little bit, but plenty of time left to go here. That goal coming in the 8th minute. And we are now 10 minutes into this first half as play is whistled down. And the free kick now for New Brunswick. New Brunswick now looking to move that ball forward. Up past midfield. Went through the legs there of Stevens for Nova Scotia, but they quickly recover. Nice lead ball there. Nova Scotia again looking to work that ball over into the middle. Trying to get a foot on it there was MJ Miller. And it comes back to New Brunswick. And they move that ball up along the far side. Nova Scotia again quickly on that ball. Jane Stevens moves it up ahead again down that right side, but it does go out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in now for New Brunswick. Certainly in the early stages of this game, Nova Scotia has had the advantage territorially as the majority of possession has been down on the New Brunswick side of the pitch. But again, just early on here, New Brunswick does trail. They take that ball forward. Moving it up there was Lavoie. Christine Lavoie gets it forward, chipped ahead. But again, Nova Scotia there quickly as Haley Burrell pushed it back. Now it's Natalie Fleming trying to move it forward there. New Brunswick trying some quick ground passes, trying to move that ball forward, but Nova Scotia just playing very strong defensively on the back end, not allowing any through balls at all. And here's another chance now over toward the middle. And that goes high in the air as a couple of players come together, and a New Brunswick player slow to get up. Time continues to tick away here in this first half. In this first fixture of the U18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase. Best of the best in the U17 and U18 of men's and women's soccer in Atlantic, Canada. Coming with that ball now is Katie Chasson. Chasson being challenged there by Gerard. Gerard did a nice job of forcing the issue. Now, long ball forward there, trying to find Sophie Gerard down the side. Gets turned right back around, though. Nova Scotia off the left foot there of Haley Burrell. Ball over into the middle. New Brunswick tracks it down. Sylvie Fecteau on it quickly. Comes over on this near side as New Brunswick again. And you can see New Brunswick perhaps being a little more affected or thinking about the wind perhaps a little more than Nova Scotia, as New Brunswick really, and true to his word, Kevin Talbot said they were going to try to keep the things on the carpet and try to move the ball forward as much as they could without getting any air under it because of the wind conditions. And again, it seems to have died down just a little bit, but still, it's fairly gusty out there. And again, when you're trying to get some long balls forward, that can certainly play on your mind. Nice little pass now coming forward there from Katie Chasson. Over into the middle there, a nice ball through coming from Burrell. Back into the middle now, New Brunswick. Will try to play it back and reset. New Brunswick trying to catch Nova Scotia off guard, but Nova Scotia does a good job of retreating. Taylor Green got that ball forward, and out of position there was Bushy. And saving the day was her back line, as a nervous moment there for New Brunswick as Bushy well out of the goal. And with Nova Scotia barreling in toward that open net, the ball cleared away at the last minute, so it'll be a throw-in now for Nova Scotia. So anxious moments, but we remain at 1-0 for Nova Scotia. And that ball goes out beyond the back line off the foot of a Nova Scotia player, so it'll be a goal kick for Team New Brunswick. And the other thing, with this being a showcase event, yes, the teams want to be able to win the showcase championship on Sunday, get into that championship game, but as well, the coaches are aware that this is a showcase event and a chance for these players to display their skills for all of these scouts and recruiters that will be in attendance here at Raymond Field, as well as watching our Bell Lion TV1 webcast. So you will perhaps see some more substitutions, at least early on in Thursday and Friday matchups, than you would normally see in a league game. And both sides have their spares warming up at a high pace. And again, expect to see quite a few substitutions as this game rolls along. Inbounding now is Fleming. Natalie Fleming with the nice throw, headed over toward the middle. That was beyond Cormier. Nice little chip forward now. Nova Scotia trying to bring that up the middle. Turned around as New Brunswick was quickly on it. But it's cleared up now toward midfield. Nice 1v1 battle there. But the ball ends up on the foot of New Brunswick. And New Brunswick now will look to move that ball forward. Nice little play up the right side. Setting things up nicely there for Gerard. And she tried to get a shot on goal, but it just went off to the side. But a nice play and a nice offensive set there from New Brunswick. As you know, the wildfires in Alberta have affected thousands of lives, and you can help those in need by visiting redcross.ca to donate. As well, you can text FIRES, F-I-R-E-S, to 45678 to donate $10 to Red Cross Canada's Alberta Fires Emergency Appeal. And I know the scenes that have come out of Fort McMurray have been devastating, but Canadians in true Canadian fashion have really stepped up, and the Red Cross has talked about that it's probably the fastest that they've ever seen donations come in. And at last count, I believe it was up into the $67 million range that has been raised, and it's going to take that and much more to get Fort McMurray rebuilt and to help all of those affected. So again, you can text FIRES to 45678 and visit redcross.ca to donate. And we thank you for your help. Just a little over 22 minutes left in this first half. Just the one goal on the board, and it belongs to Team Nova Scotia. Team Nova Scotia, their U17 side, leading here 1-0. Nice run up there by Taylor Green. Green tries to get into the middle. New Brunswick block it down. Sophie Gerard, she's been strong here in this first half. Gerard gets it forward now. Moving up with it is Emily Bagna. Bagna as well has been strong and dangerous for New Brunswick, wearing number 4 in white. But she can't get past the defense of Nova Scotia there, and Nova Scotia now will have a throw-in opportunity. 18 minutes exactly gone by here in this 40-minute first half. Scott Squires and the Bell Line TV1 crew, glad to have you with us. It's the U18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase presented by Soccer Nova Scotia. Play into the middle, trying to reach it there was Madison Hill. And Hoskins whistles it down, and it'll be possession now to Nova Scotia. Moving it over, Olivia McIntyre. She gets it far side for Lavers. Madison Lavers moves it up ahead. New Brunswick in transition now, trying to counterattack, but that ball went out beyond the New Brunswick forward and goes out of bounds. So again, Nova Scotia will have a chance to inbound the ball. They play it back to their keeper. Caitlin Fines calmly moves that ball forward. Fecteau, nice move, gets that left foot forward. Here comes here comes Burrell now. Burrell, nice move there, goes to the left foot and gets knocked down, but again, nice moves there and good effort from number 5 in blue, Haley Burrell. Thecto, of course, the captain for New Brunswick, had the wrong number 6 in that last sequence. New Brunswick now has it again. Natalie Fleming. And again, New Brunswick plays it back to their keeper, just trying to reset. Back up now for Fleming. Fleming getting hounded there by Nova Scotia. Ball up into the middle. In looking for it was Lavers, and it went over Madison Lavers' head. And again, play is whistled down. Nova Scotia leading 1-0. Nova Scotia U17 girls, coached by Cynthia Ty, assistants Gary Carter, and team manager Kathy Burton. And for the New Brunswick U18 girls, head coach Kevin Talbot, manager Christina Bransfield, and assistant manager Lena LeBlanc. That ball rolled again into New Brunswick, and the keeper Bushy moves it up on that far side. Crisp little pass forward to midfield, gets chipped high into the air. A couple of players battle for it, and coming down with it on her foot was MJ Miller for Nova Scotia, but again, referee Hoskins whistles possession to New Brunswick. New Brunswick, ball forward down that right side. Trying to catch up to it was Gerard. And a nice ball forward, one of the first times we've seen New Brunswick really try to air it out and move it forward through the air. And it just went beyond the reach of Sophie Gerard. So past the halfway point now, 18:30 and counting to go here in this first half. Nova Scotia continues to lead by the score of 1-0. And it looks like we may have a substitution getting ready to come in here on the sideline for New Brunswick. Aaron Gentleman has the position there at midfield, getting ready to come in. But in the meantime, Nova Scotia moves that ball down the left side. Trying to run onto it now is Burrell. Haley Burrell, several times down that left side, has tried a couple of times to run onto long ball forward. And she hasn't quite been able to connect yet, but it's clear that that is a game plan for Team Nova Scotia, is to find Haley Burrell down that left side, put that ball forward and let her try to run onto it, number 5 in blue. And there we see the substitution now. Coming into the game for New Brunswick, Aaron Gentleman checking out Sophie Gerard. So 2 in, 5 out for New Brunswick. Nova Scotia trying to get it forward, but it's picked off there. Again, Emily Bagna. Bagna with a long ball forward, and just checking in, Gentleman was hoping to be able to run onto that, but just a little too much oomph on that forward pass from Bagna as she looked to find Gentleman, who again just came into this game. So fresh legs for New Brunswick in the form of number 2 in white. Nova Scotia now has that ball in midfield right across that red Acadia A. And here's a ball forward now looking for Chason. Chason taking it down the left side, puts the ball over toward the middle, and couldn't quite catch up to it. Over there was Claire McDougall. But again, nice effort there as Nova Scotia, playing that ball down the left side, took it in deep, tried to cross it over into the middle, but just couldn't connect. But again, nice pressure from Nova Scotia. A stunning day here at Raymond Field. Lovely location in the heart of the Annapolis Valley. New Brunswick forced out into the corner. They try to move it up, but it goes out of bounds, and Nova Scotia now will have a throw-in deep in New Brunswick territory. Time continues to tick away. 25 minutes almost have ticked off the clock here in this first half. Again, 40-minute halves in this under-18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase. Again, trying to put it in toward the middle there, and looking to get a foot on it was Green, and Green was right in on top of Bushy, but Bushy does a good job of standing her ground and taking that ball away and taking away the Nova Scotia opportunity. That ball high toward midfield, headed back deep now into Nova Scotia zone. All the way back over the end line. And it looks now that we're going to have a corner kick here for New Brunswick. So inside 15 minutes, 14:55 left to go here. And substitution coming in now for Nova Scotia. Checking into the game, Alyssa Hartland, number 10. And coming out, Katie Chason, number 6. So 10 in, 6 out for Team Nova Scotia. And again, both coaches indicating, just because of the setup of this tournament and wanting to get all of the players an opportunity to get in and run some offense, to show their talents. That ball headed just off the side. Nice corner in, and New Brunswick able to get ahead on it, but just goes wide of the goal. It'll be a goal kick for Nova Scotia. But just to finish that thought, certainly today and tomorrow, according to the coaches, you will see probably a lot more substitutions than you would normally see in a regular league game. And again, it's all because they want to give these players an opportunity to get out there and strut their stuff for the recruiters and scouts that are watching, not only live here at Raymond Field, but also via our Bell Lion TV1 webcast. Again, this is the first game of 4 that will take place today. Our game scheduled for 3 p.m. Atlantic time after this will be the New Brunswick U18 boys taking on the Nova Scotia U17 boys. And again, that's scheduled for 3 o'clock Atlantic time. Taking a tumble there was Natalie Fleming, but she's right back up for New Brunswick. Looks okay. Ball into the middle. That just gets chipped away. Trying to run onto it there from behind was Claire McDougall. And play whistle down again. 13-13 left on the clock here. 1-0 remains your score. Beatrice Curry was the goal scorer for Team Nova Scotia as she found herself all alone in front of the New Brunswick goal from about 20 yards and made no mistake as she hit a lovely ball into the back corner. Coming again now is Burrell. She has been dangerous, and she gets taken down. And I don't think it was on purpose, but coming in from behind defensively was Natalie Fleming and swept the legs out from underneath Haley Burrell. And Burrell up quickly. So a free kick opportunity now off to the side, but inside 20 yards. So it's a fairly sharp angle, but not a bad situation here now for Beatrice Curry. Now the question is, does she dump it off for a quick kick, or does she put it on goal herself? She does try to curl it in, and it's in the back of the goal. That is a lovely strike on the free kick. Beatrice Curry just with a lovely ball. And again, just, it was from a sharp angle, but she bent that ball in lovely into the top corner. A gorgeous strike from the free kick, and Nova Scotia now with the 2-0 lead. So that goal coming in the 28th minute. And again, it comes off the foot of Madison Curry. So it was Burrell who got taken down by Natalie Fleming, and the free kick awarded, and Beatrice Curry, no mistake. I don't know, many goaltenders would have been able to get a hand on that. That just had almost the perfect height, all kinds of bend, found the top corner on the far side, and Nova Scotia full marks for a 2-0 lead. So certainly work to do now for this New Brunswick side. So we'll see if Coach Kevin Talbot changes things up here, or if he'll stay with his 4-3-3. So he's staying with the 3 up front. Ball in midfield. New Brunswick trying to work it forward, but that back line of Nova Scotia has been very staunch defensively. making it very difficult for New Brunswick to be able to penetrate through. Anything inside that 30-yard box has been difficult for New Brunswick to penetrate. They've had a couple of looks in there, but for the most part, Nova Scotia has really clamped down in that 20 to 30-yard zone outside their own goal. And they've made it very hard on New Brunswick to try and get any kind of offensive push or any kind of set play toward goal. On the flip side, a couple of times where Nova Scotia's had the chance, well, they've made no mistake, and they've found the back of the New Brunswick goal twice. And that's where we are here with 9:45 and counting to go in the first half. Nova Scotia leading 2-0. New Brunswick with an opportunity here now. Low shot angled in. Good job there as it was blocked away. I believe that was Madison Harnish who got a foot on that. Long ball in just to the side of the goal, but a nice strike there from about 28 yards as New Brunswick putting it in toward goal, but it does go wide. And that wind, that was, I would certainly say, a little stronger early on. It's still a pretty good breeze blowing, but it doesn't seem to be gusting as much as it was early on, so perhaps we'll see now if both of these teams can maybe take a little bit of advantage of the wind dying down a bit and see if they can get a little more air under their forward ball and try and open things up offensively. Bushy got that ball forward there, and now New Brunswick will play it back again. Madison Hill calmly pushes it back to Bushy. Bushy, just a little chip forward now, coming in quickly. There was Green trying to force the issue. And again, Bushy will have to pick it up with Alyssa Hartland coming in there for a close look for Nova Scotia. Here's Bushy again. Everybody retreating now. Bushy lifts that high off the head of the Nova Scotia player McDougall. And again, New Brunswick forced to retreat into their own half of the pitch. Working with it now, trying to get it forward was Celeste Cadet. And the ball goes out of bounds. 7:43 left to play. Ball put in bounds. Nova Scotia quickly challenging again, but New Brunswick will come out of that pile. They push it over toward the center part of the field. Trying to reach it there was Bagna. Bagna now gives it off. Oh, nice try there as they were looking to get a player free up the middle. But Nova Scotia again shutting things down. Back to Fines. Fines quickly up toward midfield. Nova Scotia looking to work it forward, and there it is, that same play down the left side, looking for Haley Burrell again. Burrell now puts the Jets on, being challenged there by Gentleman. Burrell tries to get it over toward the middle, but only white shirts for New Brunswick there, and they kick it out of bounds. But again, Nova Scotia, that same play, long ball forward, looking for Haley Burrell down that left side, and the speedy number 5 in blue, and there she is right now, getting ready to throw it in. Burrell runs onto that ball again, and again creating offense for this Nova Scotia side. Throws it in. Taylor Green tried to catch up to it. Blocked down there by Julie Cormier. Cormier moves it up. A couple of players getting a foot on it now, but again, Gentleman turns her back. Getting it through there, trying to catch up to it is Bagna. Can she get there? Bagna coming in. And Fines saw number 4 like a flash coming in there for New Brunswick. And Caitlin Fines does a nice job of rushing out of her net and sliding along that turf and held on to that ball. But a good-looking play there as they were able to free up Bagna. Looked like it might have been a handball there for Nova Scotia. It did bounce off the hand of Claire McDougall. Nova Scotia again with that ball in midfield. New Brunswick converge on it quickly, trying to shut things down. And the play whistled down again in New Brunswick. We'll have possession here now. Bushy again will look to kick it forward. Coming up to 5 minutes left in this half. So we've played almost 35 minutes of this 40-minute half. And there you saw Bagna reaching for it again, but Jane Stevens got ahead to it first. New Brunswick again trying to stretch out that field, move that ball forward, but it goes past everybody, and it'll be a goal kick again for Caitlin Fines. 2-0 your score. Nova Scotia U17 girls leading the New Brunswick U18 girls. Game 1 of this Under-18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase. Proud to bring it to you live on Bella Lion TV1, wherever you're watching today. Great to have you with us. Little ball forward by Green. Trying to catch up to it. There was Hartland. Hartland puts it in toward goal and just chipped away. And again, good pressure there from Nova Scotia. And I don't know if you're picking it up on the mics, but certainly both benches, coaches, being very encouraging to their players, to both sides. Nice to hear. Ball forward now, comes out toward the middle. Jane Stevens there. She tries to chip it off gently to that right side. Nova Scotia again looking to set it up. Stevens. Smart little ball forward there. New Brunswick spinning with it, and they'll move it up that left side. Stevens running onto it there, but Nova Scotia gaining control again, and again it's Stevens. Stevens all around that ball the last few seconds here. New Brunswick challenging forward again, and the ball does go out of bounds. And we got a tweet here from Felians Soccer. It says, best of luck to our at FAA 1899 players competing this week at the U18 Showcase. Hashtag Newfoundland and Labrador Soccer Association, hashtag FAA. And that comes from the Felians Athletic Associations, based out of St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, place of my birth. But as I always like to mention at any of these Atlantic showcases or Atlantic Canada events, I will not be biased toward the Newfoundland and Labrador side, or Nova Scotia for that matter. That is now the province I reside in. But we thank Felians very much for tweeting that out. Again, send out your tweets. You can use the hashtag TV1. That's TV and the number 1. And here comes Bagna. Again, she's been all around that ball for New Brunswick. Bagna puts on the brakes, tried to make a move around the defender. Bagna again. Nice little footwork, puts her back to the defender, dumps it off there as Gaudette came onto that ball. But again, there you see Emily Bagna, 4 in white. She's been very dynamic for this New Brunswick under-18 side here in this half. Just a little over 2 minutes left to play here. New Brunswick trying to get anything toward goal. Stepping around the defender was Green for Nova Scotia. In towards the middle, Bagna. And I think that came up, and she knew it right away. It bounced up off of her foot and into her wrist area, and immediately she knew it. Nova Scotia defenders knew it, and referee Ben Hoskins knew it as well, and he blew it down right away. Caitlin Fines will put this into play. Got a good bit of leg into that, did Fines, but it goes onto the leg of a New Brunswick player. In midfield, lucky 13, MJ Miller gets it back. And now a ball forward. Trying to catch up to it now is Hartland. Well down into that far corner. Right at that goal line. And New Brunswick, good job of defending there. And they turn it right back the other way. Out toward, again, that midfield stripe right around the Acadia A. Nova Scotia push it forward. Green tried to catch up. Green gets possession. And they'll play it back now and try and reset. There's that little chip forward. Will they try to find Burrell again on that left side? Yes, they do. Here comes Burrell. Gentleman on her defensively, and a good job by Gentleman forcing her off the ball. Good contact there. 1v1, little back heel there by Burrell, as she had the cheeky little play to try to back heel that ball forward. And I guess as dynamic and dangerous as Emily Bagna has been for New Brunswick, so has Haley Burrell for this Nova Scotia side. She's been dangerous. And more than once we've seen Team Nova Scotia try to set her up down that left side. And she's been very adept at running onto that ball. And once she gets her foot on it and gets possession, she is very tricky. So the corner kick opportunity now for Nova Scotia. They lead 2-0 here. Final few seconds will tick away. Haven't gotten an indication yet of extra time. So we are in extra time now. Can't quite see 1 minute of extra time. 1 minute. So that's pretty reasonable considering there haven't been a whole lot of stoppages or out of bounds plays. So the obligatory extra time added on, a single minute of extra time. Enough time here for Nova Scotia to push this ball forward. Seeing if they can add to that 2-0 lead. They bring it over toward the middle. Now they get it back. McIntyre puts that ball high into the air. Heading toward the front of the goal is Hartland. Can they get it to her? Tried to get it over. Blocked down there in New Brunswick. Will hammer it out over on that far side, and it'll be a throw-in for Team Nova Scotia. So again, we are in extra time. Shouldn't be long now before we hear those 3 blasts from Ben Hoskins' whistle to signify the end of half number 1. Ball thrown in. Bagna. It's high into the air, and that's going to go harmlessly over the goal. And there's the whistle to signify the end of the first half. So a nice start to this U18 Atlantic Showcase tournament. A nice start to our coverage on Bell Line TV1, and certainly a very nice start for the Nova Scotia U17 girls team as they score twice. And it was Beatrice Curry in the 8th minute and again in the 28th minute, counting for both Nova Scotia goals. So we'll step aside a 10-minute half. You are watching the U18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase presented by Soccer Nova Scotia, live and exclusively on Bell Alliant TV1. Your score after one half: Nova Scotia U17 girls 2 and the New Brunswick U18 girls 0. We'll be back with second half action in about 10 minutes.